Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today what I want to talk about is tabletop role-playing game industry and what I believe and an assertion by myself. It is my assertion that only 1% of everybody who works in the tabletop role-playing game industry makes their product for money. All right, let's get into this. So the reason I'm talking about this today is there's been this, I did a couple videos on this. Shane Hensley from Pinnacle Entertainment Group created a new product, which is Savage Worlds Pathfinder. I specifically think that product is a waste of time for the industry. I think taking a copy of a copy, which is exactly what Pathfinder is, and making it playable in another rule system is a waste of time for Paizo, and it's a waste of time for Pinnacle Entertainment Group. So I have 2 videos out on this already, and the question came up, and my question was, how is Savage Worlds Pathfinder a viable product, right? And there was this it came into question on why Pinnacle Entertainment Group did this, right? And one of the answers in the comments was they did it to make money, right? And I'll tell you right now, I think this needs to be understood. Money is not the motivator in tabletop role-playing games, period, okay? Being a tabletop writer, being a tabletop designer, being a tabletop role-playing game CEO, these are rock star jobs. Absolutely no one does it for the money. No one becomes a musician to make money, right? They do it for the love of the art. They do it for the love of the art, right? And sometimes they get lucky and the money is there, but they would do it even if the money wasn't there, okay? People don't make tabletop role-playing games for money, right? And here's why. I think it's really important to understand, right? And I think one of the reasons why is there's a lot of discussion about how much should artists get paid, how much should writers get paid, how much should tabletop role-playing game CEOs get made. There's some discussion on that last one, right? And there's all this discussion around this. Well, here's the issue, okay? If you can create a tabletop role-playing game, if you can create a good tabletop role-playing game, actually, even if you can create a bad tabletop role-playing game, almost certainly, right? You are going to be able to make more money in at least 10 other industries, right? The biggest one is insurance. In America, like, everybody's like, oh, it's a waste of time to get a degree, right? It's never a waste of time to get a degree, because no matter what your degree's in, you learned how to write papers, you learn how to read, you learn how to do some math. You're an academic. You're a second-tier academic, right? And there's just tons of industries that'll sweep you right up, right? The insurance industry does a huge amount of hiring in America, right? And then there's just tons and tons of other industries that have every single type of industry. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if it's constructions or textiles or any of these other things. They all need administrators. They all need bookkeepers and people to shuffle this file from there to here to do customer service and a million other things, right? And the reality is, every single skill you need to make a tabletop role-playing game is all organization, writing, math, scaling, marketing, and every single skill you have is immediately usable in other industries where you will make far more money than tabletop role-playing game industry. The tabletop role-playing game industry is an absolutely catastrophically bad moneymaker. It is so bad, right? You think I'm wrong? Let's talk about it, okay? First of all, the best tabletop role-playing game in the world in 47 years has had 3 owners. 3 owners. Here's the next one. I don't think there's a tabletop role-playing game in the company in the world, okay, that sells tabletop role-playing games as their primary product that's been in business for 20 years, okay? And the reason why is, generally, if you make tabletop role-playing game as your primary product, you're going to go out of business. Perfect example of this, well, a company that is on the brink, in my opinion, right, or actually a company that has had a roller coaster ride. I'm not going to say they're in trouble now, But there were times where, by their own words, they were worried, right? Fate, right? The guys who make Fate, Fred Hicks is the main CEO, I think, still, right? But that company, Evil Hat, is it Evil Hat? Yeah, I think it's Evil Hat, right? They came up, they made Fate, they made a buck or two, right? Then they got the Dresden license, and they made Buku Bank, and then that all just dried up and went away, and they were in trouble, okay? If you look at any tabletop role-playing game company, one, it will be shocking if they've been in business even 20 years, right? Tabletop role-playing games go in and out of business all the time, right? The other thing is, or they won't have a building. They literally won't have a building, right? Which I think is, if you're going to be a real building, a real company, you should have a real building. They will have a number of, they have startup numbers, right? Like they have, 3, 4, 5, like a number of full-time employees that's under 10. I think the entire Dungeons and Dragons game has full-time staff of like 50, right? Which is actually very smart. There was a time where it was like 600, and there were way too many of them. One of the reasons why Dungeons and Dragons has been healthy under Hasbro is they build that thing with a very lean staff, right? So the reality is, I think 1% of the tabletop industry, maybe 100 people in the whole world, literally make their living making tabletop role-playing games and feed their family on it. Like, I doubt it's even 100 people, right? Everybody else, they are doing it. What are they doing it for? They are doing it for rock star cred. And there's a lot of it. If you are a writer, if you are a designer, if you are a CEO in the tabletop role-playing game industry, you have 5 million people who want to be you, right? It's got a lot of street cred, and that's why you do it. No one goes into tabletop role-playing games to make money, right? And if they do, they find out very soon after they're in that market that there's no real money there. That's just a very harsh reality of our world. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear yours. Do you think that there are people just scraping it out and being laborers in the tabletop role-playing game industry? I don't think it is. It's just not true. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear what you think. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.